Today we discuss the top most high-end CPU under $300. So let's start. First one is AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. The Ryzen 5 5600X is an 6-core 12-thread processor with a base clock speed of 3.7 GHz and a boost speed of up to 4.6 GHz. It supports 128 GB of 3200 MHz DDR4 memory out of the box. It is part of the 5th generation of the Ryzen lineup built on the 7nm Zen 3 architecture. When you compare the Ryzen 5 5600X to others on this list, this processor will stand out as the multitasking champ. Best uses of Ryzen 5 5600X are: advanced office apps, gaming, video production, video editing, 3D animation and rendering. While the 5600X shows great strength in multitasking, the single-core performance is as strong a score as you will see in near $300 price range. Its price is $299. Second one is Intel Core i5-10600K, 6 cores 12 threads. Socket type LGA 1200. Up to 4.8 GHz unlocked. Compatible with Intel 400 series chipset-based motherboards. Intel Optane memory support. Its price is $268. This Core i5, like all of the other 10th generation Intel Comet Lake S chips, is based on the chipmaker's 14nm lithography, in a further refinement dubbed 14nm++. That's in contrast to the 7nm Zen 2 process AMD has employed since mid-2019 in its newest Ryzens. The Intel Core i5-10600K is a 6-core 12-thread CPU with an Intel UHD Graphics 630 integrated graphics processor, IGP, a rather high TDP of 125 watts, and a 4.1 GHz base clock. Intel claims the chip is capable of hitting 4.8 GHz on both single-core and all-core tasks. It, like the rest of Intel's 10th generation Core i5s, doesn't support the Turbo Boost Max 3.0 or thermal velocity boost features we saw in the Core i9-10900K. Third one is Intel Core i7-9700K. The Intel Core i7-9700K is an 8-core 8-thread offering from with a 3.6 GHz base clock with a boost clock of up to 4.9 GHz. The i7-9700K is part of the Coffee Lake generation, meaning that it will slot into an LGA 1151 socket with the Intel 300 series chipset. The sub-$300 budget is where the first Intel i7 processors are becoming available, whereas the sub-$200 Intel processors are owned by the i5s. Its price is $259. Fourth one is AMD Ryzen 5 3600 XT. The AMD Ryzen 5 3600 XT is a 6-core 12-thread processor. It has a base clock of 3.8 GHz with a turbo boost of up to 4.5 GHz. The XT moniker identifies this Ryzen as built on a refreshed Zen 2 architecture. This is not a new or different architecture to the 3700X for instance, but it is an optimized version of the same processor build. Why did AMD do this? This is a small improvement from the Ryzen 3600X reviewed in the article titled, Best CPUs Under $200 of 2020. Its price is $249. Best uses AMD Ryzen 5 3600 XT are: advanced office apps, gaming, video production, video editing, 3D animation and rendering. Fifth one is AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. The Ryzen 7 3700X is an 8-core 16-thread processor with a base clock speed of 3.6 GHz and a boost speed of up to 4.4 GHz. It supports 128 GB of 3200 MHz DDR4 memory out of the box. It is part of the 3rd generation of the Ryzen lineup built on the 7nm Zen 2 architecture. When you compare the Ryzen 7 3700X to others on this list, this processor will stand out as the multitasking champ. Its price is $305. Best uses of this CPU are: advanced office apps, gaming, video production, video editing, 3D animation and rendering. Sixth one is Intel Core i5-7500. The Intel Core i5-7500 is a 4-core 4-thread processor with a 3.4 GHz base speed and a 3.8 GHz boost speed. The i5-7500 is of the Kaby Lake family and came into the marketplace in the first quarter of 2017. The single-core clock speed benchmarked by users averaging 106 points, which puts this CPU in the lower spectrum of overall speed on the sub-$300 list. The 4 non-threaded cores will be challenged when used for multitasking, but the i5-7500 has long been a favorite amongst gamers running legacy single-core optimized games. In 2020, this processor will be heavily taxed and begin bottlenecking many of today's graphics cards. Its price is $192. Best uses of this CPU are advanced office apps, gaming. 7th one is AMD Ryzen 5 2600X processor, smooth gaming and advanced multi-processing performance. The world's fastest 6-core, 12-thread desktop processor with true machine intelligence. The Ryzen 5 2600X is an 6-core 12-thread processor boosting a 3.6 GHz base clock and a 4.2 GHz boost clock. The 2600X is the best CPU in performance according to its price. Its price is $244. So that's all for today. These are the best CPU under $300. Our favorite one is Ryzen 7 3700X. Now it's your choice to decide which one suits you better. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so you will never miss our upcoming video with lots of new products and benchmark comparison. Thank you.